Ginna Paola Herrera Calero, bachelor degree psychology and pedagogy and magister in education, professional with extensive experience and knowledge in project management in the field on education, pedagogy, curriculum, didactics, assessment, ICT, teacher training and pedagogical research from an educational inclusion approach and a perspective of critical pedagogy with more than 18 years in professional experience in the following areas: project management, design, implementation, monitoring, and evaluation of educational, cultural, and social projects in the attendance and virtual modalities, management of virtual education projects, creation of virtual training programs, creation of digital educational resources, academic management of training processes with vulnerable population and inclusive education, construction of academic process. I met a training in arts and craft for vulnerable populations. University teaching management, orientation of academic affairs of virtual space or resource methodology, communication skills and autonomous learning, school orientation, educational evaluation, curriculum didactics, cooperative learning and socio-affective development, and researchers or research groups linked Colciencias or MinCiencias in Colombia on the subject of politics and practice in educational evaluation and the use of ICT in educational field and virtual education. Bueno, Ginna es coordinadora de medios y mediaciones pedagógicas de la Universidad El Bosque de la División de Educación Virtual y a Distancia. Ella estudió psicología y pedagogía y una maestría en educación en la Universidad Pedagógica Nacional. Es una profesional con gran experiencia en todo el desarrollo de proyectos, en pedagogía, en currículo, en didáctica, en uso de herramientas tecnológicas, formación de docentes a nivel de pedagogía. Como les comentábamos al principio, ella va a presentar la fortaleza pedagógica de todo el uso de la tecnología. Adicional, pues ha trabajado a nivel de educación inclusiva. Tiene una experiencia de más de 18 años en formación y pues digamos en formación docente, en formación de estudiantes, en este proceso de uso de la pedagogía y aprovechamiento de las herramientas tecnológicas para fortalecer los procesos de enseñanza y aprendizaje. Por supuesto, tiene experiencia y maneja diferentes áreas a nivel de desarrollo de proyectos, a nivel de formación de docentes a nivel universitario y a nivel de investigación. Por supuesto, participando en grupos de investigación de MinCiencias aquí en Colombia, pues toda la parte del uso de las herramientas tecnológicas, el uso de las herramientas TIC a nivel de educación. Bueno, y sin más preámbulos, entonces damos el paso para escuchar a nuestra querida Ginna Herrera, desde Colombia. Bienvenida, Ginna.
And now we have a Ginna Herrera from the University El Bosque, and until we find to fix our technical problem, Ginna can talking with you in Spanish about the topic, and we find quickly.
Okay. Hello everyone. I'm Ginna Herrera. I represent the Virtual Education Division of El Bosque University, as Cindy said. I coordinate the media unit and pedagogical mediations. In this unit at El Bosque University, we are in charge of accompanying, advising, and carrying out the design of virtual beds in the university, including the design of a digital educational resource. Today, I come to propose you some ideas to reflect about the role of pedagogy in the design and use of immersive technologies to achieve effective learning in students and powerful ways of teaching. That's the center of my presentation. There is the presentation. Thank you, Alexandra. First of all, I have to say that the use of technology in education is a fact. It's already a requirement. We all here know that. Teachers, schools, academics, and government agencies recognize this importance. The consensus had been taking a place, but due to the latest events resulting from the COVID pandemic, this consensus is almost generalized. Either way, the use of technology in training process is essential at any level. In this context, immersive technologies appear as a very powerful way of enhancing teaching and learning process. If the use of technology and virtual education have been broken barriers of time and spaces, this immersive technology breaks even the barriers of reality, as we see that in the last presentation. This thing allows us to be in imagined spaces, other countries, the space. Also places where it's physically impossible or is dangerous to be. Even in imaginary worlds. We can see it in the images of my presentation. Please close that window, Alexandra. Thank you. As immersive technology allows us to be in every place, live experience we cannot have in our process of learning. Actually, please check now point 1, Alexandra. Click in the doctor.
It's in day.
Sin day.
Yeah.
Bueno, gracias, Sin day. Well, then the power of the use of immersive technology is in the great variety of possibilities that exist to have a pedagogical transformation of our practices. Also, the great motivation that is achieved in the students is undeniable. It is the great achieved of this use of technology. Also, the diversity of possibilities of representation of knowledge and allow a better understanding by the students. Specifically, the use of this technology can facilitate real learning in students because it enhances the approach of an understanding of complex concepts that in a traditional ways couldn't be a reality. Cindy, please, 2, the point 2. Thank you. Gracias, Cindy. At this point, it's necessary to problematize the use of immersive technology in education. This is from a pedagogical point of view. We can find some teaching experience that use the most advanced technologies, but with methodologies from more than 50 years ago. In the image on the left, we see the students using immersive technology. Even they are using glasses of virtual reality. But look at this. They are in a classroom located in a traditional way, studying the content with this technology, but they are alone. Even we can see the green board in front as an icon of traditional education. We could say that pedagogically nothing has changed in this case. Only the way to access content had changed, but the ways to learn and build knowledge have not. Using this type of technology implies developing exercises focused on living the experience. That is simulation, experiment, and exploration, for example. Please, point 3, Cindy. Thank you. Well, based on this, the place of pedagogy in the use of technology has to do with the idea that the student is the center. That is, the experience provided by the use of immersive technology from a pedagogical point of view allows learning more and better if we recognize the student is the protagonist. So it's not only about using technology, but it must be articulated with and from a pedagogical, formative, and didactic reference. It's undeniable that the use of this technology draws the attention of students and motivates them. The great challenge is to maintain that attention and that motivation and turn them into a real learning. In other words, the student can't pretend to be an astronaut or see a heart beating in 3D. And not only watch a photo from the textbook or the teacher's PowerPoint slide projected on the board. This is a great pedagogical power, but to achieve link this to real and powerful teaching sequence is the other challenge. Please, next point, Cindy. 4. Okay. This type of technology, virtual reality, augmented reality, or mixed, is characterized by immersion and interaction. These elements are two of the fundamentals when the teacher designs and develops the didactic routes or sequences. So we are already seeing that the teacher, as designer or consumer of resources in this type of technology, must overcome the idea of presenting content, and that in this dynamic, the student is a simple recipient of that content. This means that taking full advantage of this technology otherwise not only allows to have a different attractive resource, not just that, but also involves the student in a true learning experience. That's the point. We see in the diagram the percentage of the information that we remember after 2 weeks according with the type of the activity. Thinking about the use of technology, of this technology from this point of view is the key, because the resource that only present a content may result in the student reading or seeing, and they, at the end, they only achieve and understand about 20 or 30% of what they read and what they saw. Immersion and interaction is the key to achieve a higher percent. We can see it at the base of this picture. Next point, Cindy, please. Thank you. 5. Well, if these are the conditions, why this technology is still used only to present content? It's necessary to promote the development of learning experience where the student is truly active, not just a receiver, as usually done with technology. Experience that promote living, analyzing situations, acting in the face of challenge, formulating hypotheses, or solving problems. A real acting is the way. Next, Cindy, please. I know the time I have is not enough to deliver into this topic, but I bring you some steps to determine how to use immersive technology. This is based on what was raised by Veronica Pandelitis from East Carolina University. This is centered on virtual reality, but I present you more general. Well, a possible way to do this, I'm saying. Step 1, define the specific course objectives. This is an analysis of course and a proposal, a formative proposal. Step 2, select the learning objectives that could use virtual reality, augmented reality, or mixed. Not all the objectives could be use this technology, immersive technology, not all. We have to select these from that list what we use. Step 3, design the didactic route that the student will follow. This is the center, the didactic route. This formative proposal is here really. We designed the didactic route using the content of immersive tool to achieve the course objectives. This step is basically a pedagogical design. It's the center for our perspective. Step 4, we have to determine a level of immersion, the type of information and activities, even an environment we required. Depend of the type of technology we use also. In this step, we think about which moment of the didactic route we will use this type of information or activities in this technology. That's the pedagogical analysis we have to do. In the step 5, we determine type of interaction and activities or moments of the didactic sequence. This set also means thinking the didactic methodology as active one, not just present a content, even work from the experience and living for the student. In the next step, we choose the software and hardware required. There are many tools for teachers to design their own immersive beds to developments or present contents using this technology. In particular, I will show you some tools. In point 5, you can click in type of interactions. Cindy, por favor. Perdón, vuelve a ingresar y ahí mismo en donde estábamos y ahí mismo le das de nuevo en el 5. Gracias. We can see here some tools or some software we can know for the design for the teacher. Notice a click and I don't know, is a type of interaction. Here I bring you some tools, but CoSpaces, I like it because it is easy to use for teacher. It could be a good tool for the design of this pedagogical sequence. Here we can create different scenarios with many elements and characters. It's diverse in the free way. Interaction and action activities also can be created in this tool, and the teacher can create these products also for virtual reality and augmented reality. I like it in the free version. It's easy to use for teachers. I think that here it's an invitation to think about the teacher not just as consumer of these products, even a producer of content, of activities in this technology. There are a lot of tools like Zapar. It's easy to use too. Even there is not the same interaction we can find in CoSpaces, but it is great, it's easy, and a teacher can explore different ways to create this didactic sequence in this case. Cindy, you can back to the slide when we were. Thank you. The final steps that I propose to teachers to use this technology are concentrated in design the resources and apply and evaluate them to see if the course objectives were achieved and what we can change or we have to change to achieve this. Cindy, please back to the presentation to the point 7. Finally, it's important to insist that as teacher, we must have the ability to select the material that fits our didactic sequence. We just have saying this. This requires understanding that we must go from being consumers to content in this type of technology to being producers. I said it. This idea implies that we must have digital and immersive literacy. It means learn the basic and learn to use the tools. Also learn and test the design of didactic sequence, as we said on that steps I bring you. So the question remains completely valid now. What are the students going to learn with this technology? How are they going to learn it? What are they going to learn for? And how are they going to demonstrate what they have learned? Fundamental questions of pedagogical knowledge. And this put us on the scene of the initial of my presentation. Is pedagogical knowledge is at the center, and it's supported by technological knowledge. For educational context, it couldn't be in the other way. Thank you. That's all.
Wow, thank you so much. Please press F2, the button. You can also press F1 or many times F4. So I have a question. We have one possible question for the time. Who has a question need to press the button 0 of the question mark, this. No? And
Karen,
we have
chat. Karen have a question?
Karen?
Give
me a second.
Yes, Karen. I have a question. What is the role of instructional design, Ginna?
Okay, Karen, that's a good question. Very good question. We could see these steps in this design, this instructional design in the steps I show you. It's essential to carry them out, but many proposals in these steps changed, but it's the basic for a teacher. These steps are basic for a teacher. This process can also be carried out with an interdisciplinary team. I think this is powerful, where there are pedagogical advisors, designers, or developers. It's more qualified process when we have this team. So this process of instructional or formative design, as I will prefer to call it, is the key to giving that place to pedagogy, is the key. This helps us to guarantee the learning of the students and the qualification of the teaching process of the teachers. I know this is repetitive, but using this type of technology must start from this pedagogical analysis in the formative or instructional design.
Thank you, Ginna. Other questions, Daniel? Maybe in YouTube or Facebook?
Tú mismo lo has dicho, esta sala se ha aumentado. De hecho, quisiera hacer una actividad con todos ustedes para que rompamos el hielo. Así que
Sí.
Todos presionen el número 4. 1, 2, 4.